Hi everyone, welcome along. My name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube and also on Instagram. And it is going to be the I even wrote it down because every time I look back through my videos I think, firstly I think you've never said the date. It is going to be the 24th of January, Sunday morning. Welcome to the morning briefing. How are we all doing? I have had a super busy week with teaching online, but other than that I have done nothing. I've done loads of stitching, but very little else. We have had weather from, I don't know where it's come from this week in Wales. We've had floods, we've had all sorts. In fact, I do know exactly where it's come from. It was Storm Christoph. Now, bearing in mind, I live with a Christopher. It's Storm Christoph every time in our house anyway, all the time. But we had, we really copped it. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the light at the minute. I notice it keeps changing hue. Nothing's happening in the room, so we don't know. I've now gone a bit of a green tinge. There was a bit of a red tinge before, but we'll see. Oh, so yes, so much rain. So I've not stepped foot outside the door. There's a few people that I've said I'd post things to. I haven't even been to the post, so that is my job. I've got to get that done. I hate having things outstanding where I've said I'll send stuff to people and I haven't sent them. So if you are waiting on something from me, I think there's 3 people, then it will definitely be in the post. It's ready to go. It is all done. It just needs me to get off my backside and get out the door. But at the moment that's pretty hard going because it's so busy. Teaching is so busy. They're actually moving to change the timetable next week, just because it's so full on for all the pupils and the staff. So hopefully next week there'll be a little bit more wiggle room in the day. I had a couple of questions off my last FlossTube. First question, a lady asked me if I would mind doing a flip through of the sewing club book, the Blackbird sewing club book. She'd seen that I'd shown the Winds of Autumn and that I'd said I had the sewing club book. So I will do that, but I'll do that at the end just because I know probably lots of people have either got it or seen it, and some of you might want to be able to just miss that part. But it's looking through Blackbird patterns. Who's not going to want to do that? I certainly am perfectly happy to more than flick through that. And the other question I had was about what was this in the background. So if I can reach it without knocking everything else flying. It's really dusty. Get dust free in this house. So this is an antique sort of stitching frame that I bought definitely a year ago, maybe a little bit more. And my plan is not to use it for actually stitching on, because I stitch in hand. I don't stitch with a frame. Actually, if you actually tried to, a couple of the tensioners don't quite work like they should do anymore. But my plan is actually to stitch a piece that will fit onto here, and then that will be my display. So instead of framing something, I will mount it back onto here, get as much tension as I can, work out how I can get it nice and flat. I think I've got an idea of a way of doing it. And then it will sit and be a display item just like that. So that's what that is that was hanging around in the background. I'm going to put it back on the floor because I'm pretty sure if I try and put it back over there, everything else will just come flying down. The clock is over there, which I showed the finish of last week. Thank you so much to everybody who commented about the clock. And the other thing that's sitting here is this, which if you're new to my channel you might not have seen before. This was the chart for this was launched on my Flossmas on Christmas Eve, but I will put the link down below. And I've seen, the reason I'm showing you this week is I've seen quite a few of these floating about this week. So this is Stay Classy that I charted and stitched up. So if you fancy that, I will put it down below and you can stitch it. I've seen ones like this, and I've seen ones also where people have moved the stay and put it above the classy. So feel free to have a play around with it if you want to stitch it at all. What else has been going on this week? I have been watching a lot of 2 things. First thing I've been watching a lot of is The Deadly 60 with Steve Backshaw, because it's on the Key Stage 2 programming, which my daughter's been watching quite a bit of, and there's like 5 series of it, and he's a naturalist and he goes to all these fantastic places, lots of which I've been to, and he catches all these animals and shows you all these deadly animals, and he is beautiful. So if you've never seen the Deadly 60 or any of the Steve Backshall programmes, do yourself a favour, go and have a look. He is very lovely to watch. And the other thing I've been doing is watching a lot of FlossTube. So although I've been really busy with schoolwork, I have been able to have quite a lot of FlossTube on in the background while I've been marking things and sending out emails and whatever. So I'm going to mention quite a few FlossTubers today, and I will put them all down in the box below so that you can go and find them. So some of them might be new to you, some of them might not be. Some of them might be a bit of a reminder. That's what happens to me. I watch people and then I get out of, I'm still subscribed to them, and I still get the notifications, but then I suddenly realise I've missed like 4 or 5 of them, and I think, oh, I need to go back there. So ones that I have been watching this week in no particular order: Brenda and Laura, obviously, goes without saying, doesn't it? But 2 new ones to me that I haven't watched before is Lancashire Stitcher. I've been watching her over the last couple of weeks. She did a whip parade of all her whips the other day, which is lovely. And X Stitch MD, who again is new to me. She's got some fantastic projects. She also shows lots of knitting as well, and I can knit, and it kind of is making me think I want to get my needles back out. I'm certainly not in her league. If it's flat and it's straight, I'll be okay with it. If it's got any kind of curve or bend or sleeves, probably not happening. I can do a bobble hat in the round, and I can do mittens and things like that, so maybe, we'll see. I have also been watching Quirks and Stitches generally. 24 hours of cross stitch weekend this weekend. I would have loved to have taken part in that this weekend, but I can't think I'm going to get any more stitching in this weekend than I would do normally. Nothing's going to change for me this weekend. I might turn around to my tribe and say I'm doing 24 hours of cross stitch, and they'll be like, okay, let's go here. And so I still wouldn't get any more done. So that's my goal. One weekend I would love to do the 24 hours of cross stitch and really see if I could get 24 hours of cross stitching in. But I think I'd need to be on my own to do that. Mischievous Stitches, I watched her again, and I also watched Whilst Iris Naps. So Christina from Whilst Iris Naps, she's got a new chart out. She showed some of her previous stitches as well. It was quite funny actually, because I was watching it along and I was also messenger her at the same time, so I was almost having like a live with her. I've also watched the first bit of Evelyn Across the Pond. Thank you very much for your lovely comments, Evelyn. I hope I can be half as good as you hope I can be. So hope you enjoyed this episode. And her YouTube channel is going from strength to strength. So if you've not popped over to see her again, then please do. I've also got queued up ready to watch Joyfield Stitcher. Normally watch her on Saturday morning, but this morning I didn't get to, mainly because I got a new weighted blanket. That's lovely. I don't want to get out of bed. It's lovely. If you've never experienced the joys of a weighted blanket. Crosshatch Quilts has got a new one out. Christy from Crosshatch Quilts. I can't wait to watch that one. That's a joy for all of the senses, that one. And Valerie Stitching in the Barn I also popped onto my playlist this morning. Right, I've got lots of things to show you today. I have got freebies, I have got works in progress whips, I've got haul, I have got the flip through of that sewing club book later on. I've got the winners from the Pantini competition. And so I'm going to start off with showing you, should we start with the freebies actually, because the freebies are right on the top. Now I've been watching, I watched Made by Michelle McGraw, and I watched a few other people as well who have done some Valentine stitching, and I've quite fancied that this year, just to do a few Valentine smalls. Gotta love a Valentine small, haven't you? So the ones that I have chosen, this one I have seen about a lot this last couple of weeks, with people making it up, and so I just wanted to make sure that you knew where it came from, where you can download it from. And then there's another one as well from the same designer, which would make a really nice pair. So this is Valentine by the Primitive Hare, and it's this little one. Now I have seen that stitched up kind of prim, I've seen it stitched very modern, I've seen it stitched with a patterned background, I've seen it stitched plain, almost like it is, and it's looked brilliant in every single one of them. So it has definitely got the ability to be changed up and to fit whatever you've got in stash. The other good thing about it is that it's a small, and every time I do videos I get lots of people saying that I'm giving them confidence to actually have a go and to make up their projects, to do some finishing. So that is perfect because there's not a whole lot of stitching in there. You can make a nice little pin pillow out of it. You could hand sew it, you could machine sew it, but if it went wrong, it's not something you've been working for months and months on, so you can get good practice in finishing a few bits. That would also look really nice, sort of wrapped around a spool or something like that, I think. So that's the first one. That's the one I've seen out and about a lot. And then I really like this one as well, which again is by the Primitive Hare, and it's called Love Never Fails. And I really like that in that kind of sort of old-fashioned way. There's also a picture, if I just turn it over, on the back of the chart, showing it in a sort of a grey blue as well. So that, I would say that's not overtly Valentine's Day, so you could definitely have it out sort of Valentine's season, but you could definitely have it out and keep it out all through the year. So I think I'm going to do both of those actually, so don't be surprised next week if I've got those not necessarily finished, but maybe on the way. So what have I been doing this week? Let's have a look at whips. Sorry, I'm just going to have a little wet of the whistle. Oh, there we go. Okie dokie. So let's go from, got it all here. Oh, everything's falling on the floor now. There we go. So I've stitched on some reasonably sort of odd things this week. Not necessarily things that I was planning on stitching at all. And the reason is because I am a bit lazy. As I said, I've been really lazy this week in terms of doing very little else. But after I did my FlossTube video last week, I just kind of left everything upstairs. I didn't re-sort everything out and bring it back downstairs to carry on working on it. And so when I was sat on the sofa and I've got some stitching time, I thought, literally, what is in my basket? What's on the basket here? I'm not going upstairs to get the stuff that I was working on last week, although there is a couple of bits. But now I'm just going to pick from what's there. So it meant I actually picked out a couple of projects that I really hadn't worked on for a while. And that is something that I have learned actually. If I leave something I want to get some progress on, don't put it away. Don't think, oh yeah, I'm going to work on that. Have it out. Have it next to your stitching chair, and you just get more. You're more likely to get the whim to pick it up and have a go with it. So the first one then is actually my finish. Let's start with the finish. This is something that's been sat in my stitchy box next to my chair. And partly the reason I've left it sat by my stitchy chair and not really worked on it is because there's a few errors in it. There is, I'd used the wrong colour in one of the places. It's a Mill Hill kit. It's called, let me just show you what it is. Hopefully I won't have to take it out. It's called Through the Woods. Let's see if I can just grab that out. Sorry, wrinkle, because there is a bit of glare on that. There we go. It's called Through the Woods. And it's a really, really pretty little beaded and button. And I've got the button there, and the reason I was attracted to it is because the button is a black and white spotty dog. However, now that I've finished it, I don't think I'm going to put the button on. Just because the button actually isn't that great quality. I don't know whether it's just mine or whether it's this particular button or what, but I don't think I'm going to put it on. So I'd stitched mine not on the perforated paper, but on some 28 count. I believe it's called Toffee. I think it's a fabric flare. I'll try and make it so that it's you can see it. And I hope this is going to be picked up because it's so sparkly. It's looking a bit flat, but you can see here is the snow. Here's where the button should go. And then here's the horse with all of his reins and all that on. I have got to put just the reins on of the horse. That's the only thing, well, two things I've got left to do. Everyone's sitting there going, you're telling us it's finished, you've got stuff left to do on it. A couple of little things. And then I've finished the top. Now, two things. Firstly, at the top on this pattern, above the little cottage, is like a snowy mountain scene with, I'm sure it's meant to be a snowy cloud, but to me it looks a bit more like an atomic bomb, like a mushroom cloud. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm leaving off the snowy mountains, but I'm leaving off the mushroom cloud. And I will put the snowflakes on and I will put the reins on. I'm going to back it first so that I can just do my snowflakes by sort of going from snowflake to snowflake, and you won't see the trailing thread. So what I mean by back it is I am going to make this into a little kind of Christmas bag, or a little it might be a drawstring, it might not be a drawstring, I haven't quite decided yet. I'm going to make it into a little Christmas bag, and so I will put some iron-on bonding on the back of this, and then I will stitch on the little snowflakes, and I will probably do them to make it a little bit longer rather than just square it off. I'll probably do them so it makes it a little bit of a longer bag, and then I'll put the reins on as well. And by doing it, as I said, with the iron-on bonding on the back, it just means I don't have to worry about carrying my threads underneath the actual stitched piece, and I'll make a nice little bag out of that. So I'm pretty pleased with the way that's come up. It's so much more sparkly when you've got the light on it. I'll try and put a photograph of it on Instagram when it's in maximum sparkle mode. And if you've not got one of these, I can highly recommend one of these. If you're doing any beading, then you need to grab yourself one of these. This is called a Bitsy Bob, and all it is basically it's a CD case, and this is tacky. It's not called a Bitsy Bob. That's the thing you put the threads in. It's called a Tacky Bob. I'll put the link down below. I bought mine from Lakeside Needlecraft. Sorry, a Tacky Bob, not a Bitsy Bob. And yeah, these are tacky. So what you do is you just spill out your beads into the case, and they don't go anywhere. There's no shifting those. I don't know how I'm going to get them off. If anybody's got any tips on how to get the remaining beads off the Tacky Bob, then let me know. But yeah, that's really, really helpful, so that you know what it's like. You open a tin of beads or a tub of beads and they go everywhere, and you're still finding them 3 Christmases later. So that was my finish, and I'm happy with that, and I shall make that up next week sometime probably. You know me, I don't like to leave things lying around for too long. What else have I done? I mentioned last week that I had a project by let me just grab it, Threadwork Primitives, that had been appearing in my brain, and that project was Beggars Valentine. So that's Beggars Valentine, and I bought this a long time ago from Fobbles, kitted with the threads. Now it's only got four threads in it, and those threads are Weathered Barn, Chamomile, Onyx, and Wood Trail. And I wanted to stitch it on a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus vellum. Now that's what the chart looks like. This is what the called for colours look like. And as you can see, it's quite different. That photograph is taken in quite a lot of shadow. I really like this. They're not colours that I would naturally have picked myself, but that's sometimes what I really like about not always changing the thread colours, because then you get used to using new combinations and things like that. So all I've got to do is finish the crow or the raven. There's a 14 in the top here, and literally it comes down. There's one more heart to fit onto the bottom there, and then that little tree to finish off, and then that's it. So that was a pretty quick stitch really. I think I only started that last Sunday, and it's got probably another 2 days in it, 2 or 3 days in it, and that should be finished in time for Valentine's Day, that we celebrate so heavily in this house. Will I get a card? No. Does it matter? No. Okay, this one. And again, this one is another one that I picked up because it was in the box by my chair. I'm not sure I've ever shown this one before, because I think I even missed it out on my whip rave. So this is the one. It's called Mary Kath Harris. I presume it's Mary Catherine Harris, although she shortened it. And that is the chart there. Mary Catherine Harris, 1873. And it's got this amazing zebra on it. Now I can't think of many charts from back in the day. And this isn't a put together one, this is a reproduction by Erna Hiscock. She goes by Erna Hiscock Shepherd as well, and she's very prominent in like not vintage, but antiques needlework and antique samplers. She's got an antique shop, and actually it's one of her shops is in my hometown of Stow-on-the-Wold, or it used to be. I don't know whether it still is actually. But yeah, a zebra. That is amazing. It's only got 2 colours, and it is charted in DMC 3799 and DMC 3866. So I have only done the grey, the 3799, and this is on a piece of 32 count Ren by Picture This Plus, which I have poorly ironed. There we go. But yeah, I really like this. So I'm doing the alphabets at the top there, and then the last thing I'll be getting down into the big zebra. So this is quite a small sampler, and I know there's been a lot of talk since Christina from Wild Irish Snaps released her new sampler, which is a small one, and she's got lots of smaller samplers. So if you are in the market for some small samplers to fill some little gaps, or you want to get into samplers and you're a bit daunted by the Uffendale sisters, I'm a bit daunted by the Uffendale sisters, I would love to do them, but that's some serious stuff there. So go along and check out Wild Irish Snaps if you want the smaller ones, or this one. Now I will look back and see if I have still got the email address for this lady, because this is how you get hold of the chart. I emailed her, and then she paid her by PayPal. I think it was £5 when I bought it, and then she sent me the PDF copy. So I will see if I can find the information for that, and I will put it below. So I worked a bit on that. I've nearly got this one finished as well. So this is January by Pantini. So if I show you the chart for this one, when I think of January, whoops, random bobbin falling out, and this is being stitched on a piece of 32 count Zweigart in beige, and this is where I am on this one. So I've literally just got the rest of the snowman to finish there, some little snowflake doodads around the outside, and there's a thermometer here, so I've got that to finish off as well, and I can't wait to get that done. I've worked out how I'm going to finish them as well now. I'm not going to do pillows. I've got another idea. It involves me having something made, so I'm not going to say until I've got the thing made, and then I will show you, and hopefully it just means that it's totally interchangeable and I can just take off January's one and put February's one on, and March and April on me, and so on. So I worked a bit on that. I'm using the called for colour scheme, but I'm not using the actual called for threads. The blues and the reds and the greens are all various different weeks dye works that I've got just sitting by my chair on a big hoop. So yeah, I'm pleased with how that's coming along, and I get to attach the little snowflake button when I am done. That's for that one. And then the last thing that I worked on, did I bring, no, I don't think I brought the chart up with me. Oh, that's alright. Or did I? No, I didn't put the chart on. So I will have to put a picture up of it. And this is the EF sampler, 1864 EF sampler, which is the stitch along that I'm posting. And I've only done a little bit more on this one. So I've done a little bit more along here, and I've done a little bit more down here, and quite honestly I've probably frogged more than I have stitched. This letter here I must have stitched 3 times. Once it was in the wrong colour, once it was half a stitch out, and then once I got it right. The 2 letters here I stitched, looked at the chart, they were in the wrong colour. I probably would have left them, but this colour here, this is called a Chinese red, and I'm doing mine in the DMC. It's one of the only places it appears in this row, and it's almost like it's meant to be a standout set of initials. So I did feel that I needed to take that one out and swap the colour back again. So my goal is to try and finish the first page in February, and then I'm going to finish the second page in, sorry, I'm going to finish the first page in January, and then hopefully get onto the second page in February. This is a piece of 36 count sand by Victoria Motto, and I have really enjoyed, I've watched quite a few people this week who are also stitching along with this. I know there's loads of people who are stitching along who maybe don't have FlossTubes, but the ones that I've seen with FlossTubes, made by Michelle McGraw, has started this one. So has Creatively Yours, Debbie. So has Nicole from Nicole's Needlework. Well, she's kitted hers, but she's going for the NPI, so I cannot wait to see this done in NPIs. That is going to be superb. And then the other person who was talking about it was Michelle from the Striped Rose, and I so enjoyed her episode. And the thing that really tickled me the most, she was talking about another sampler that she was stitching, and she was changing the initials to be part of her family, and they were all over 1, these initials. And I think this is how I'm going to judge everybody from now on, family, friends, whatever. She said, I'm going to change the initials. I've got more possibilities than I've actually got spaces on my chart. She said, but they're all 1 over 1. Who is 1 over 1 for, ready? Who is suitable for me to do 1 over 1? So that is how I'm going to judge everybody else. Who is, I think the exact word she used, it was beautiful. She said, who is 1 over 1 worthy? And I was chuckling about that all day, and I was thinking, oh, if I was doing a sampler, initials of 1 over 1, who is worthy? Who is worthy of my time on 1 over 1? So yeah, if you've not watched her, then go and watch her, she's a hoot. And that is pretty much everything that I have worked on this week. So some things that I didn't expect to work on, some things that I probably thought I would. One finish, that's okay, I'm happy with that. Right, the winners of the giveaway. So there were loads and loads of entries for this. So I used the random comment picker, and if you remember, I set this competition, this giveaway 2 weeks ago, and my only stipulation was that you were in the UK, or that it was posted to a UK address, just because of the way the postal systems are at the moment, and it just was easier for me to do that. I'm afraid I had to leave out international viewers this time. So I've got 3 winners, and but hopefully everybody's got those conditions. They've got a UK address for me to send this to, and hopefully everybody gets in touch. So as we stand at the moment then, the winner of the heart, and there were 88 people who wanted this one, You Warm My Heart, and the winner of this one is Diane Robinson. So I'll put the proof up there. So Diane, if you can get in touch with me, I will put my email address in the comments box, and so you can get in touch with me that way, or drop me a message on Instagram, direct message on Instagram. That's an easy way to get in touch with me as well. And the next one was the strawberry, and there was 42 people who had left the word strawberry, and that's the chart there. And the winner of this one is Bar Stitches. So again, if you can get in touch with me either email or Instagram Messenger, that would be lovely. And then the last one, Sow Grow Eat. And if you remember, I said that I had substituted all of the buttons except I had a flower instead of a cabbage. So there we are for that one. And the winner of that one was Caroline Fletcher. So Caroline, if you can get in touch with me, then I would really appreciate that, and I'll get these out to you. This is not going to be post that hangs around for ages. I promise I'm going to get my arse in gear and get it sorted. So, haul. Again, I've got quite a little bit of haul. I'm not quite sure what's going on at the moment in terms of me feeling that I need all the haul, but I do. I watched Olivia B, her first FlossTube that she's done for a few months, and she just literally shouted her haul from the rooftops. So not something to be ashamed of, something to share, something to show everyone. I'm so chuffed with some of the bits that I've got. Most of them are down to other FlossTubers, so getting a taste of my own medicine from what I hear in the comments, getting a taste of my own medicine. So I'm just going to clear this away, and then I will show you the haul. Sorry, that took a bit longer than I thought it would, not that you all know that, but that might be why the camera's in a slightly different position. So I have got some haul. The first part of my haul is solely down to Rebecca from Hedgerow Stitching. She has done a fantastic whip parade of all her samplers, and I was green with envy over lots and lots of the things. So one of the things that she mentioned that I wanted to investigate was a company that I've not bought anything from before in the UK called Hoop and Frame, and she said that she'd got some things from Hoop and Frame, so I went over there to have a look. And so they have got a lot of the Access Commodities Legacy linen in lots of different colours. And so I picked up a fat quarter of Wayfarer's Cloak, which I'll take it out of the packet because there you can see. It's a really beautiful, soft, almost like a minky colour. It's not a beige. It's not in the brown. Well, it is brown, but it's definitely got a bit of grey to it. So really can't wait to look at that one. And she also, well, she didn't say, but when I was looking on there to see what else they had got some kits. So I was like, oh, I'm interested to see what those kits are. And what the kits are is something that I've wanted to try for ages, and that is the 103 threads. And it's brilliant because they have got the 103 threads for the little gems that have been released by Hands Across the Sea. Not every single one of them, but lots of them. So I already had Sarah Spencer, and I've been looking forward to stitching Sarah Spencer for ages, and I have got, sorry, I shouldn't have dropped that one down, I have got a piece of 40 count Picture This Plus fawn that I was thinking about stitching her on. I'm not 100% sure, it might be a little bit too mottled for her, but there's definitely some parts of it that are less mottled than others. And so because I already had that, I chose to pick her. The other reason that I chose her is because she's only got 8 colours, so it meant that it was quite a good way for me to try this particular brand or this particular type of thread. And also I thought that they were pretty good sampler colours, so I'm sure that I'll have loads left over when I've finished stitching her, and they were colours that I could make work for lots and lots of different samplers. So I'm really interested to try those. They've got maybe somewhere between 7 to 10 different ones of those little gems from Hands Across the Sea. So if you've wanted to try those, that's a really good place to go and have a look, because sometimes it can be difficult to get the individual colours in the UK still, so it's nice to be able to just pick up a pack and ready to go. And then, because obviously I wanted to make the minimum order for free posting, I also picked up some of these. I've always made my own thread drops before, so I've never tried these ones, so I'm looking forward to trying those as well. So there was a pack of 30 of those. And then I went to Patchwork Rabbit, because Patchwork Rabbit sent me a notification that my Picture This Plus fabric of the month was in. So they send you a notification with your invoice. Now, what that invoice says to me is not only that your Picture This Plus fabric is ready for dispatch. What it says to me is, I'm sending you this. Why don't you put something else in the basket as well and make use of that postage? So that is what I do. So when I get that notification, I'm like, ooh, ooh. So this time the fabric is Picture This Plus Mirage, which is a beautiful grey. Now, on their website, I was looking to see what colour this actually was on the Patchwork Rabbit website, and the photo that they use, I'm sure, is probably the stock photo from Picture This Plus, but it almost looks like it's got some pink in it as well. And I wasn't 100% sure, but it doesn't have, it's just the way it's pictured, it doesn't have any pink in it. So that's mine, 36 count Picture This Plus Mirage. And I also bought some threads, some DMC. Now, a couple of those I know are to finish the Brooks Books Witch that I started a few weeks ago, but the majority of them, the fleshy coloured ones, are for the new Barb Anna salve from Creative Poppy, which I'll show you properly next week. Just a little plea, if you've got a stitching shop online, can you please add to your website, so when I buy a thread, all I want is when I click on, yeah, I want an 844, all I want is a little box that I can write in the name of the project that I am purchasing it for, because I can't remember. I've now got to try and work out, I think I know what I've bought those for, but there have been times before when I know I've bought threads for 4 or 5 different projects, and by the time the threads have arrived, and we're not talking a long time here, we are talking a couple of days, you know, I've slept since I've ordered them, therefore it's gone out of my head. So just to have on my invoice, even if it's just somewhere to put the initials of the project that I was doing, that would help so much. So if you've got a stitching shop with an online presence, that would be marvellous. And then the other thing that I decided to get, because I'm on a little bit of a Blackbird kick at the moment. There's a nervousness in me about whether these things will become really, really hard to get or not. But I've looked at this one for ages, is Agnes Platt Strawberry Sampler. So there is in here a big sampler. There is also the little pin keep, or the little pillow, and this is my favourite, this is the one that I was drawn to, the bee skep. I just love that brickwork, I absolutely adore that brickwork. It says, the bee his labour is a chant, his idleness a tune. That sums me up this week, idleness a tune. Is that everything? Yeah. That's everything. So really pleased to have that one. And I had a couple of things from eBay this week. Oh no, hold the phone. I also had another thing from Patchwork Rabbit, and they have sent me some happy mail of things that they will be having on their website shortly. So they are having these. Now these are the little things that you put onto your thread drops. Well, these ones open as well, so you've got book ring there. And they are going to be having these little thread keeps on their website. So these are the ends of cotton reels. So they're the designs from the end of the cotton reels. So let's see if I can show you what they are without getting too much. These are the ones that they sent me. So there's that one. There is that one. And there is that one. And I think they've got lots and lots of the designs in the pipework as well. So keep an eye on the Patchwork Rabbit website. It's always worth keeping an eye on the Patchwork Rabbit website. And you will be able to, if you're in the market for some of those, you'll be able to purchase some of those very soon. So, as I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself, eBay. Picked up a couple of things from eBay. The first was this little chart by Dames of the Needle, and I think I will have to take it out just because it's so small. It's another small sampler. I hate it when your hair's just not quite long enough to stay tucked back by itself. And this is Eliza Ann Scott. And actually I was looking at these colours, and I think I may be able to use some of them, or be able to use the same pack from Sarah Spencer. There's lots of similar colours in that. So I've got that one. And then I picked up two other Blackbird ones, which are hard to get. I'm not sure if they're out of print yet, but they're quite hard to find. So I got Vintage Inspiration, which is basically this big sampler here. Let me see if there's a better picture of it. There we go. And what they've done is they have chopped it up so that you have got the big sampler, but you can also stitch just the lettering, and you can do the motifs at the bottom. So you can do a box top there, or you could make a pin cushion there. And I really like those blues on that one. And the other one that I picked up was Blackbird Designs House on Acorn Hill, which I've always really liked too. And then, lastly, I went to Peakside Needleworks. Now, this will give you a little insight into my brain. I went to Peakside Needleworks because Patchwork Rabbit were out of one colour of DMC that I wanted, which was 844. And so I'm disinclined to buy a couple of DMC threads and pay the postage. My brain would rather look around the website and then add extra things to my order, and then get so close to the free postage that I then make sure that I hit the free postage. So my brain will not pay the postage for 2 DMC threads, but my brain will make it up to the £30 free postage order. Oh, if you can tell me why I do that, then you're a better person than I. So I picked up my DMC threads. I also managed to grab one of the Valdanis that I need for Manor at Peacock Hill. And I picked up some Lady Dot Creates Motherload. I was thinking about putting that on the Threadworks Primitive Valentine one, but I think it might be a little bit too yellow. Can I see where I've put it? Is that it? It might be okay actually. We'll see. We'll see. I also picked up some 36 count Tobias. mainly I think because Brenda and Laura, one of them showed something on 36 count Tobias, or somebody I've watched this week showed something on 36 count Tobias by Seraphim Fabrics. So I just got a small piece of that. I've had Seraphim Fabrics before and they are brilliant to stitch on, but I've not had Tobias. And then this is the other one that I bought, I want to stitch, because I've loved it since it came out and I've never pulled the trigger on it, but I keep seeing it. There's lots of people stitching it at the moment. Amy Loves Toads is stitching it creatively, yours is stitching it, and every time I see it I'm just blown away by it. So it's the Blue Flower Huckleberry Farm, which I'm sure you've seen lots and lots of times because it is it's immense. And so I'm going to have a look around for some fabric for it. I might dye some of my own and we'll go from there. So yeah, that was my Patchwork Rabbit and Peakside Needleworks and eBay haul. Amazon, I just grabbed some more of these. These are just my everyday go-to project bags when I'm got something that's sort of got a couple of parts to it. It's either got a chart and fabric, a chart and floss, floss and fabric. I just put them in a bag so that I know that they're together. And the reason I picked out these ones were because they came with the A4 size and also an A5 size, which I thought would be brilliant for threads and scissors and all those sort of accoutrements that end up down the back of the sofa. So I grabbed those. The other thing that I grabbed was from Amazon. I've got a corder, one of those machines, the little windy thing like a little fishing rod that makes cording, and Ivonna Pfeiffer does a brilliant tutorial for it, and she uses DMC on hers. Now in England, in the UK, DMC is pretty expensive, and so I don't really want to use my DMC floss to make cording. So what I did do was I picked up a pack of 250 skeins of off-brand floss just to make cording with, and so I've had a little go with it. I knew how to do it from before, but I've had a bit more of a play with it, so hopefully in the next few floss tubes you'll see some finishes that have got some cording made around the outside. So I'm going to finish there. If you don't want to have a look through the Sewing Club book with me, then I will bid you adieu and I will see you next week for the morning briefing, hopefully. Thank you to all of those who carry on supporting me and leaving me lovely comments. If you want to have another look through the Sewing Club book, or if you've never seen in the Sewing Club book, then we'll do that now. Do you know what, the lady said, I heard you mentioned it, would you mind showing it? And I was like, do you know what, I haven't really looked in that book for quite a while. I loved it and pored over it when I first got it, but do you know what, I haven't really looked in it for a little while. So let's have a look and see what is in there. 16 projects, and this came out at Market last year. So lovely little drum called Rose Hips and Ivy. I really want to do that. Another little drum called In My Garden, and I've seen that one finished as a flat as well, and that's really, really pretty finished as a flat. In fact, there it is. My Home scissor box. Summer Basket button bag. That's really pretty as well, isn't it? Hollyhocks Were Always There, Housewife. So the idea is that you make that into a sort of a roll. Has it got better? All of these have got brilliant finishing instructions as well, so never fear. I think I can show you that one. There we go, there's nothing on there except a bit of finishing instruction. Another bag, Garden Friends sewing bag with hollyhocks written on the front. These are perfect coming into sort of spring and summer, aren't they? Another little scissor box with a pair on the top. If anybody knows where to get these scissor boxes in the UK, or even just plain boxes like that with sliding drawers, then let me know, because I would love to know. Summer Flocks. I really like this one. And again, it's the brickwork. The Air of Other Summers. Oh, I'd love a summer this year. Really would. A proper summer. An out and about summer, not a staying at home summer. This one's called Willing Hands. And again, beautiful brickwork on that house. I love sewing houses with bricks like that, because you almost feel like you're laying the house. You're laying the house brick by brick. Another drum. A Bit of Summer. I really like that colour linen. That is 36 count Sanguine by Week Stylebooks. Another drum. This is my perfect book. I love drums. This is called Songbird Whistles. I knew I'd enjoy this, just going back through and seeing what's in them. That's a day well spent, isn't it? Just getting all your stash out, shopping through your stash and seeing what you've pugged away. Gathering Swallows. And lastly, I believe, no, not lastly, two more. Tiny Tree Tops, Rose or Thyme. That's a nice one. And now lastly, another drum. Can you imagine a whole row of these drums? Garden Morning. So thank you very much for asking me to go through that again. That has been a joy. I've really enjoyed that. And for those of you who've stuck with me, I shall see you again next Sunday for another Sunday briefing. I'm going to show you the Barbara Anna pattern, and hopefully I'll have sorted some fabric by then, and then what I've stitched this week. So who knows? I don't. Stay classy, stitchers.